Here we go. Well, I mean, this is Big Kev's world, but I'm not Big Kev now. I am sexy hunk of man meat.
Good fucking.
So, and I'm here with the Body Stars, JB, Superstar, Xavier Michaels. Welcome to the show, guys. We're going to be talking about the Ruthless Aggression. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I want to let you guys know that if y'all saw the last episode, the Body Stars are trying their best to recruit me to join their group. Now, Matt and Kate have sweetened the deal. They sent me a PS5. So they sweetened the deal a little bit. I'm saying.
Well, see, the gift that the Body Stars can give you, brother. See, with the PS5, you have to play with yourself. But what JB and I can give you, we'll play with you.
Hey, you know what, though? You guys have that nice little big giant place in California. I love it. I love it.
We're actually in separate locations for this broadcast. JB is on location. We actually have separate appearances coming up this week for all the fans watching. So that's why we are in separate locations and not at the Body Star Ranch.
Well, you know what? I do know that every time JB goes out in public, like the women are hollering at JB. So, yeah.
Well, that's why he's a Body Star, brother.
I had some girl asking me how old I was today, you know.
But we're gonna get into this, guys, and I'm gonna ask you guys this question here is, when did you start realizing that the Ruthless Aggression Era was over?
Jesus. You want to start, JB? That's a hard.
I'll be honest. I don't even think I remember watching the full Ruthless Aggression because I don't know. I just got bored with it, I guess. And plus, you know, Stone Cold had left. The Rock had left. So I was just kind of got out of wrestling at that time. But I guess I could say, as far as I know, when it turned is when John Cena stopped rapping. Because that was what made me a fan of him, was when he'd come out freestyling. So, and then once he stopped doing that and his gimmick changed just a little bit, he went from just being this thugonomics or whatever you want to call him kind of guy to just, I'm still me, I still dress the same, I'm just not going to come out and rap for you no more, and I'm not going to do Stacker 2 commercials no more. So, that's when, to me, that's when he got boring. Like, he was boring when he came in because he didn't really have a gimmick. Then he found his gimmick. And then he turned around and was like, oh, there's so many kids coming to the shows now. I can't rap no more. Dude, you're not Eminem rapping about killing your baby mama. You're just about what you see. Like, it's the culture, I guess you could say. Like, everybody listens to hip-hop. Whether it's clean or whatever. Don't matter. I don't understand that whole gimmick change, but I guess in a sense that's when I felt like the PG era was upon us.
Yeah, and I got out of wrestling. Like, I quit watching WWF for a while, and like around WrestleMania 22. So that would have been like, what, 2006? So that's like towards the end of the Ruthless Aggression Era, but I felt like they were starting to rely, like they do now. They started to rely too much on extraneous celebrities, because, you know, around that time they were like recruiting Donald Trump to come in, and you know, there's a time and a place. What's that?
I said I remember he had the hair match with Vince,
right? And you know, like, I just felt like it started to become more of a circus than a show. And shortly after that, I think, is when they went PG, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think for me, well, you know, what's great about that is the fact that WrestleMania 23 was great because I was on the show, you know. That's just, but
it was huge.
It was huge. I did great. No, but actually, what I feel like really ruined the Ruthless Aggression Era is when Linda McMahon tried to run for the Senate. And some of her people she was running against were talking about how all the nasty, dirty stuff WWE does. And then that's when Vince McMahon's like, well, let's put it PG.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you had John Cena going out there looking like he was a Marine, doing this and that, and I'm just like, this doesn't work. And
yeah, the end of the Ruthless Aggression era there, when they started doing that PG thing. So I'm a big proponent, and the body stars are too, is you learn from your mistakes and you don't hide any of your mistakes. So I really take quite offense to WWE rewriting its own history. And they did that a lot. Like, was the Ruthless Aggression era when Vince McMahon dropped the N-word?
Yep.
Oh yeah, with Booker T, because
Yeah.
the Ruthless Aggression era started pretty much after the invasion, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Once they were pretty much done with WCW, they had to think of something else to do because they couldn't keep doing the same stuff they were doing, I guess. I don't know. But
I'll tell you what, when that match, I was aware of the prototype John Cena in OVW. But when he debuted on SmackDown and said that Ruthless Aggression bullshit to Kurt Angle, I honestly, it's one of those times in wrestling I was wrong. I didn't think he could get over. He looked like every dickhead jock you went to high school with. And I just didn't think he could wrestle. Especially he came out a few months after Randy Orton, and Randy Orton, still to this day, like he did back then, has the look of a wrestling superstar.
yeah. I hated it.
I will say, though, those four, Brock, Batista, Cena, Randy Orton, you'll never see a class like that again.
No, probably not.
Probably not.
Throw Shelton Benjamin in there. He was real good when he was on Team Angle. Shelton Benjamin, he was great.
So the Ruthless Aggression era pretty much started after, kind of what JB said, after the invasion angle. And then when they started bringing in, like, they tried to do the Raw versus SmackDown, and after WrestleMania 18, and they had the NWO back, there's Hogan and Nash and Hall, Flair's co-GM with Vince. I think that's when they started really dialing into the Ruthless Aggression era.
Yeah, they really needed to do something too, like, big, because that invasion angle, not to be crude, but it sucked a giant fat donkey dick. I mean, they really.
Well, obviously they ruined it. They didn't want to pay any of them guys that were under them big contracts. They ruined Diamond Dallas Page when he came out. That whole storyline, let's bury him. It was great at first. And then after his match with Taker, he just kind of he was here, and then he just slowly went down and then just disappeared. And I love DDP in WCW. He was great. And then, Kev said, we got NWO later. We should have had them in the beginning. We should have had Goldberg in the beginning. Shit, I still think Goldberg should have beat Triple H for the big gold belt when he first came around. But no, they had to let Triple H just keep the belt. I don't know why they kept him champion for so long. I get it. But
that Ruthless Aggression era too had Triple H. He really kind of had Booker-itis. Like he felt like he was the head booker, because I don't understand what you said, JB, of not, dropping the belt to Goldberg, and also
Steiner.
Or Steiner. But then that WrestleMania match with Booker T, like, why he did not put Booker T over was insulting.
That was very insulting, because Booker T hit that finisher off the top turnbuckle. I forgot what it's called, but he hit that move on him, and it's like, that's game over.
Right.
So the big name guys from WCW that had the big contracts were given the option to sit out the remainder of their contracts, and the only reason why so many of the lower card, mid card guys were in the invasion angle. But
no, that makes sense.
I'm glad y'all brought up Triple H, because he was going to be a part of my discussion. Triple H and his golden shovel in that 2002, 2003, 4 range. Now, don't get me wrong. I did love Evolution as a group. I had no problem with Evolution, even though they were a reject version of the Horsemen. But the one thing I never did like about what Triple H did was he was always booking. He was always putting himself, like, he screwed over RVD. He wouldn't put over RVD in 2002. the whole Katie Vick storyline. Everybody remembers the Katie Vick thing. He comes in there dressed like Kane, trying to do something with a mannequin inside a casket. That was,
dude. He's like, I screwed her brains out. I couldn't believe they put that on TV. I was like, holy shit. We were laughing so hard at that skit. I mean, that's one thing, man. Like, Triple H is funny as shit, but like, the world didn't have to revolve around him the last however many fucking years.
Well, I think with the fact that he was giving Vince McMahon his grandchildren, Vince kind of let Triple H live out his fantasies. Because, I mean, Evolution is essentially the Four Horsemen.
Right.
You know, and that was Triple H's favorite group growing up. And then, like, see, here's a point that I try to get across to a lot of indie guys, too, who are first coming up. Winning is great and all, but if you win all the time with no storyline behind it, the exact same thing is going to happen to them is what happened to Triple H. People are like, why does he need to win? Like, what are you proving? Like that Booker T win. Like, what the fuck was that proving? Besides burying the other guy and then the fans turning on Triple H because they know he's a tool.
For real, he damn near buried Booker T's career with that. By not letting him win. I'm surprised they even let Chris Benoit win.
You know, the other good thing from the Ruthless Aggression era was Booker T took a turd that the McMahon family gave him and shined it up. That King gimmick should have totally destroyed him, but I think that reinvigorated him. Don't you guys?
Well, it did. What I don't like that WWE does now is everybody fucking does. Every time they win King of the Ring, they're the new, I'm the king. It don't work for everybody else like it did for Booker T.
Right. King Booker.
So also around this time in the Ruthless Aggression era, we got the dead man, the big evil Undertaker. What y'all guys think of that reincarnation of Undertaker being from American Badass to Big Evil? Like, did you think he changed? He had to. We all know he had to change his direction in the Attitude Era because he couldn't be all the time. So.
I love that gimmick. It's actually my favorite gimmick that he's done. I think he's a complete badass. He always came out. He had a few different theme songs that I liked. So, I mean, he started off with that Kid Rock American Badass song, right? And then he went on Rolling from Limp Bizkit, and then they switched it up and gave him a whole different theme later on. But coming out on the motorcycle around the ring, just being a complete badass. And then he talked a lot more. He was more active. And he was funny as shit, too, because of how dead serious he could be when somebody was doing something.
Well, I'll tell you what. That was you bringing up DDP in the Ruthless Aggression era. That's kind of what catapulted the change of Undertaker into that character, because that's when DDP was being that stalker with his wife at the time.
Yeah.
So he kind of dropped the whole corporate ministry bullshit, and went. I loved it. And I was actually at both WrestleManias 18 and 19. And the crowd reaction to him coming down is unbelievable at a WrestleMania.
And that WrestleMania 18 with him and Ric Flair pretty much said that he lost his confidence until that match. Undertaker helped him find his confidence back.
Well, and there's a lot. I think you told this story, or somebody told this story before, about Cody Rhodes in the Royal Rumble with Undertaker. Undertaker is like a ring general because he did that same thing with Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes was nervous as shit, and Undertaker kind of walked him through the entire match.
And you also had Maven, the first Tough Enough winner, drop kick Undertaker over the top rope at the Royal Rumble in 2002.
I feel like when the Undertaker whooped his ass after that, I feel like he beat his ass so bad that it ruined his career.
The one match that never gets talked about with Undertaker, and I think it's a really good match, is that little ladder match he had with Jeff Hardy on Raw.
That was such a good match. Such a good match. And I think that's what kind of opened up Vince's eyes eventually to see that Jeff Hardy could be champion one day. because the way that he hung with Taker. I mean, if you can hang with Undertaker, then you're going to be good in the business. What is that WrestleMania 22 where Randy Orton and Undertaker?
21.
21. Okay.
Yeah.
So that one, that's when I feel like Randy's career kind of took off too, was after that match. Because I know he had the whole Legend Killer gimmick and he was doing great all the way through. And then and then he had that match with Taker and it was really good. I honestly thought he was gonna win. My uncle told me I was an idiot. He's like, Taker don't lose.
Taker don't lose WrestleMania until the PG era. But yeah, the one thing about Taker during that time was I thought he was like JB said, I thought he was entertaining. That feud that him and Brock had in late 2002, I thought was really a really good feud for him to be in, and
that was the first title run of Brock Lesnar, right? That
right.
2002. Yeah, and actually, Taker was kind of salty with Brock for a little while because shortly after that, wasn't that when Brock quit the first time to join MMA?
Yep.
Because there is an old adage in the wrestling business called paying your dues. I had to do it a lot. A lot of people who are either old time guys or trained by old time guys, you got to pay your dues. You don't just come in and become a champion. You know what I mean? And the fact that Brock Lesnar won that title, I think he was 25.
Yep.
When he won that title, because it pissed off Undertaker so bad. Undertaker convinced Vince to immediately give a belt to Orton so Orton can be the youngest champion ever, because Orton was champion at 24.
Well,
when was Brock champion?
2000 SummerSlam 2002. That's when he
because I remember when he won, he was the youngest champ, and then I remember when Randy won, they called him the youngest champ.
Right.
By the way, guys, in the comment section, J-Man says Ruthless Aggression gave us hide and right, trying to rape Michael Cole. Fun times.
Yeah, they would throw weird shit like that into the Ruthless Aggression Era, like, and Heidenreich had like the charisma of a fucking walnut. I honestly think that they made a humongous mistake making Taker lose at a WrestleMania.
Well, I heard he only lost because he got a concussion.
Yeah, I don't know. This is going to be one of those things that's going to be urban legend for a while because Heyman kayfabes everybody. And they asked Heyman if Brock Lesnar actually knocked him out, and he said yes. Lesnar is notoriously quiet, so he won't talk to the media, and Undertaker doesn't want to talk about it because he's embarrassed by his performance. So it's like, no, we'll never ever find out who is supposed to win. According to Bruce Pritchard, though, on his podcast, McMahon wanted Lesnar to win.
McMahon wanted Lesnar to go over on everybody from the time he walked in that fucking door.
Well, yeah, I mean, Lesnar had the stereotypical body, like Cena too. Both those guys from the Ruthless Aggression Era. I swear to God, Vince McMahon jerks off to pictures of guys that are built like them.
Like, I mean, they wanted Stone Cold to lose to Brock in a King of the Ring Eliminator tournament.
Right.
And he's like, man, no build up, no nothing. He's like, the next big thing, as you say, and I'm the best motherfucker you got right now, and you want me to job to this guy? With no build up? I don't think so. Because he knew that there was money behind it. And there could have been a lot of money behind it.
Well, what's interesting, too, we talk about the old added thing about, doing the right thing for the business. Hogan saw money in Brock, and that's when Hogan made him look like $1 million on SmackDown. And then The Rock did what he did by putting the belt on Brock Lesnar. If it wasn't for The Rock, Brock wouldn't be where he's at. With The Rock dropping the belt to him. I did hear something about this too. Paul Heyman made a tease on one of these videos. I think it's Inside the Ropes on YouTube. He actually said, what if Brock was supposed to lose that match, but he decided, no, I'm not going to do it. it took matters into his own hands.
That's the thing. That's like the conjecture, urban legend. You'll never know. But I'll tell you what, one of my favorite moments of the Ruthless Aggression era involves a baby and Gene Snitsky.
Oh man.
Oh my God, the Snitsky shit. Oh.
When he took that plastic little baby and punted it into the front or the first row.
Yes.
I think it took me 25 minutes to stop laughing.
This shit was so good.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Man, was that with the Kane and the Lita stuff?
Yeah, because they were in a rivalry where Snitsky was. I'm not 200% on this, but I do know Kane forced Snitsky to fall on Lita, which caused her to lose the baby.
Yep.
And that's why it wasn't my fault.
Yep. You know, honestly, I think that's around the time I kind of stopped watching wrestling because that storyline started good and then just turned to shit. Like it was all over the place, and then they turned the Lita into a whore, exposed a real relationship, like did all types of shit just for money and shit. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, I actually saw on Facebook. They said, "Can you believe this was wrestling 10 years ago?" And it was when Edge and Lita had sex live on Raw. That was 10 years ago this year, 2011.
That's crazy.
It was a little cold. It was a little cold that day for Edge, you know.
Yeah. Well, Lita was actually naked. Apparently, there was a shoot interview she did, and you can actually see her nipple when they pull the sheet back because she was actually topless.
Damn. Won't be able to go back and watch it because if the Peacock's just gonna blur it out, you can't even.
Yeah, or just ignore that it ever happened.
If Peacock buys WWE, they're definitely going to start doing like puppeteer shit. You're going to have fucking Drew McIntyre out there with a sword and a dragon on one hand going, "Hello, I'm from Scotland or whatever the fuck." Fear me, I'll have a sword.
Well, they already kind of did that. I mean, the best thing WWF had going for it post Ruthless Aggression, big man wise, that was a believable villain was Braun Strowman. I know some people have mixed feelings about him, but still he was huge and he was intimidating until they started making him do choo-choo noises and running around the outside of the ring.
That's exactly what it was. Now, here's a guy who was very entertaining during the Ruthless Aggression era. And I got to pull this out there because we all know about the Rock concert.
Oh.
If anybody does not like Hollywood Rock, there is something wrong with you. That was the best carnation of the Rock I've ever seen.
Yeah, I liked that Rock, and I also liked, like when we did the Attitude Era, the Nation of Domination Rock. Those are the two Rocks I liked.
Yeah. I mean, he came out there with him and the Hurricane Shane Helms, and he's like, "Look at you, little chicken McNugget." And
he put Hurricane Helms over. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Dude, I love Hurricane. He was great.
And he put Booker T over because they had that Royal Rumble. They had that Battle Royal to see who faces Triple H. WrestleMania 19, and The Rock let Booker T throw him over the ropes.
Yep.
And he came back at WrestleMania 20, and him and Mick Foley put over Evolution. So, I mean, people can say what they want about The Rock, but I think, now let me ask you guys, did you guys like the first Rock concert, the one when he was talking about Austin, or did y'all like the one with Goldberg?
I guess just for me personally, it was Austin because the Austin Rock feud is one of the greatest feuds of all time.
Yeah. It's been a while since I've heard them songs. It makes me want to YouTube them.
But, you know, they, like JB brought up, they really dropped the ball with Bill Goldberg when he first came in after the invasion.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, they should have made him a monster. They should have pretended like his winning streak never ended in WCW, and he should have just rolled through the entire roster.
As much as I love the NWO, he should have never lost the belt to Kevin Nash. That was just bad booking.
You know, the one thing about that whole thing with Goldberg, a lot of people don't know this, but he was wrestling in New Japan before he came to WWE. And,
oh, wow.
So there's some old clips of him on YouTube, I think from like 2002, where he's wrestling in New Japan. I felt like when Goldberg came in, they could have done so much with him. And the fact that The Rock was supposed to leave after WrestleMania and he stayed just to do that with Goldberg speaks volumes about what he thought Goldberg was worth. And I know WWE wanted Goldberg to wrestle longer and longer, but we didn't like that. When we watched WCW back then, we wanted to see Goldberg smash somebody in the mouth, spear right through him, and get it done. And I agree with JB. When they did that whole Elimination Chamber in 2003, Goldberg should have won the belt. There should have been no reason why he didn't have that belt that day.
Is that the one that Shawn won in 2003?
That was 2002. But this one was the one where they had Jericho in there, Kevin Nash with that Punisher haircut that he.
Oh yeah.
That he had, and but yeah, they should have. What they did was they brought Evolution in there. They beat Goldberg to a bloody pulp with the sledgehammer, and then they're like, "Hey, guess what? We're gonna give the belt to you the next pay-per-view." While Triple H is battling some kind of groin injury or something, so they didn't really give Goldberg I don't feel like they gave him enough opportunity, and I feel really bad though to this day for WrestleMania 20 for Goldberg and Lesnar's match, because everybody shit on that match so bad. And it was, if it wasn't for Stone Cold, it wasn't for Stone Cold Steve Austin, that match wouldn't have been the way it was at. So, I mean,
it's because everyone knew Lesnar was going to lose and that he was going to the UFC.
What's funny, though, is Lesnar left first to go play football for the Minnesota Vikings. And didn't make it very well.
No, he got caught.
Now those little skits with Kurt Angle and Stone Cold were funny too.
Oh yeah,
especially the Jimmy Crack Corn and I don't care, Jimmy Crack Corn and I don't care.
That's the one. That's the one too where Stone Cold bought the cowboy hats at the airport?
Yes,
I loved that. And him and Vince had normal size ones, and Angles had that little fucking chin strap. See, you know, the one thing they did with WCW guys that is infuriating to me is, and maybe this is just as a wrestler myself, but you always help a guy to work to his strengths so that he doesn't expose himself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if a guy is not good at technical wrestling, you don't force him to wrestle an entire technical wrestling match.
Right.
With Goldberg, his strength was that short burst of powerful energy, you know, matches that lasted 3 minutes. But when, like, for instance, when he wrestled Lesnar or some other people, they forced him to do up to 15-minute matches, and I think it exposed him. Because he just wasn't used to it. Like when he was trained in the power plant, he's a force of nature. They should have just let him be a force of nature.
This is what WWE should do now. Fuck your feelings.
Yep.
I wish they'd go into something different than PG. But whether Disney or Peacock buys WWE, it's over with for them.
See, the problem is when Vince decided to go public. And that was right at the beginning of the Ruthless Aggression Era. They started selling stocks. And now it doesn't matter if they have the greatest idea on the planet. If the board of directors or the shareholders aren't happy, they're going to fucking 86 even the greatest storyline.
Well, I don't know who these people are, but they're obviously retarded.
Hey, you know what though? Each of us could buy stock in WWE. It's only $50 to buy stock in WWE.
Yeah, but you gotta be a majority holder to be able to have any say so in the company.
Well, when they first came out, they were only like, I think, $17 a share.
Yeah.
Chaos, Al King and I have a buddy who bought like $300 worth of stock back then. So I don't know how much he's worth now. I mean, was the Ruthless Aggression Era the era too where they'd go to that fucking cafe in Times Square?
Yeah. Yep. That's the one where they have like where you didn't make it to, if you didn't make it on the show at WrestleMania, you did the WrestleMania party there.
Yeah, because it was the WWF restaurant, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Going to New York a few times, I've actually seen the building where it was at before, and I'm like, yeah, nothing really special about it. I wish they would have kept it, obviously, but well, let me ask you guys this. If y'all were booking WWE back in the Ruthless Aggression era, would you would have booked that whole Matt Hardy, Edge, and Lita? Would you would have bring it out to life, or would you think that personal stuff needs to be behind the scenes?
Jesus. I think I would have given there a little more time for the dust to settle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before even pitching that idea. I mean, in the long run, it probably would have been a great, a good idea because, I mean, there are people who lived it. But, I mean, fuck, this was like, what, 6 months to a year after that whole debacle happened? I'm just surprised it didn't divulge into a total shoot fight in the ring. You know what I mean?
Hey, I'll tell you this, though. I mean, if I was in that situation with Matt Hardy, I'd been like, look, man, give me at least a year to dust settle before I even remotely work with that guy.
See, and the only thing memorable about that whole storyline isn't I don't even remember their matches being that great. I just remember the storyline being so close to the chest that I felt uncomfortable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that shouldn't be the aim of a storyline. The aim of a storyline should be the payoff for an incredible fucking match, not, oh God, he fucked his girlfriend.
That's the one thing too that, I mean, if you're a wrestler at that point and you got the boys in the back, you obviously don't want them to know about all that stuff. It's like,
that's why you never bring your girlfriend or your wife on the road. I mean, JB and I see this same shit happen with our third member of our Body Stars. I mean, whatever locker room she walks into or public place we go into, it's like fucking male dogs trying to sniff each other's heinies. It's like,
hey, the one thing I would say to this is when I come up there and do this stuff with you guys with the wrestling show, I probably will. It's one of those things where you do have to kind of, back then with wrestling, you have to kind of keep the lady away as possible. So,
well, around like a sexual tyrannosaurus like yourself, Big Kev.
Or as Mel calls me, Kong.
So what do you guys like? So the Ruthless Aggression Era is like the limit of my WWF knowledge. Pretty much. What do you guys like?
And I don't even know all of it.
Me neither. And it's like, what are some of the big highlights? And I'll tell you this, and I know that I'm going to catch a lot of fucking heat over this.
All right.
But one of my favorite people from that era was Chris Benoit. As a performer, not as a human being. Let me make that distinction.
Right.
It's a conspiracy, man. He didn't do it.
Hey, I'll tell you guys, I know some guys on here who still think it's a conspiracy. They have it all set up. Someone's doing a documentary soon proving that the neighbor knew everything about what happened, like that female neighbor that they had. Let me explain something about Benoit to people. I still look at him as one of the greatest technical wrestlers of all time,
if not the greatest. I mean,
not the greatest, right? So
him and Kurt Angle put on some of the best matches I've ever watched.
Especially that cage match on Raw where Kurt Angle jumped off the top of the cage and
yes,
did that moonsault. That was some really epic.
Kurt Angle, I hated him so much as a kid. But it's because, he's feuding with my boy Stone Cold. Man, I can't be having that.
Well, I'll tell you what, JB, I love the fact that you go over there, wham, you stun people.
Yeah, well, It's just the fact, man, when I go back and I watch his matches now, I'm like, man, he's so damn good. Even on the mic, he was so good. Like, he was funny, too. Like, there was no, man, it didn't matter. You put him in anything, he'd make you laugh. Put on great matches. Him and Shane McMahon put on a hell of a match.
Oh, that King and Ring match? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And the one thing I will say this, too. Now, I will throw this guys out to you. There was one time I was playing a WWE 2K series, and I did create a Chris Benoit. Instead of I changed the mood to him choking people, and I called it the Strangler. So,
oh my God.
I mean, it was funny because it was like, I mean, some people didn't find it funny, but I mean, obviously, to me, I'm just like, look, it is what it is. I mean, Benoit, you can say what you want about him, but the matches that he had with Bret Hart in WCW before it went under was great.
Right.
Stone Cold, Kurt Angle actually said on his podcast that Stone Cold was one of the most physical wrestlers. Him and Benoit were the most two physical wrestlers he's ever fought.
Well, yeah, I've heard that about Stone Cold too. I heard he wasn't stiff, but he was incredibly snug.
Right.
But yeah, to all the people butthurt out there that about us bringing up Benoit, you really cannot mention the Ruthless Aggression Era without bringing up Chris Benoit.
You can't even mention Attitude Era.
Right.
I mean, he showed up. Him and Jericho. Well, Jericho went first, and then he showed up with Eddie Guerrero and Dean Malenko, and it was just over with.
And I'll just put this point out there too, because I've had this debate with somebody before. What he did, conspiracy or not, was terrible with what happened to his wife and his child.
Mm-hmm.
However, the WWF vilified him, where they could, in the same token, they swept under the rug what Jimmy Snuka did. So anybody out there saying that we're assholes for bringing up Chris Benoit, anytime you bring up Jimmy Snuka and how great of a human being he is, he beat his fucking girlfriend to death in 1982 and Vince McMahon covered it up.
And can I clarify something too? You guys can all villainize Hulk Hogan too, but I guess it's okay for Vince McMahon to use the N-word on cable television to Booker T.
Right to Booker T's face.
Right. So, but you want to villainize Hogan because he made a comment that was about his daughter that he thought was behind the scenes. I mean, you can say what you want, but wrestlers aren't perfect. You know that, Xavier.
Oh yeah,
they're not perfect people, and it's one of those things where, hey, there is a lot of skeletons in the closet, and Lord knows I have my own share. But you know what? Every morning we wake up, Mel just goes like, yeah, let me put that one over here.
Yep. And those skeletons can be embarrassing sometimes. Like, I don't want anybody to know how many transvestites I mistook for women. You know what I mean? But actually, so Royal Rumble 2004, I was actually ringside at that pay-per-view, and that was amazing. That was the Rumble that Benoit actually won.
I love that Rumble match because that was the one where, Cena was starting to do his thugonomics. He was starting to get into the groove. Goldberg came in there cleaning house on people, throwing them across the ring, and then Lesnar came in, hit the F5, and I remember Taz going, yeah, baby, yeah.
And there's a whole generation of fans that unless you get a bootleg, and this is the reason why I bring it up, you're never going to see it because Chris Benoit doesn't exist. So anything he's a part of has been cut. Like, didn't they cut the main event of WrestleMania, 20 because of Benoit?
I'm not sure. I have to go back on there and look because
20 was the triple threat, right? Triple H.
Yeah.
Triple H, Michaels, and Benoit.
The last broadcast of it I saw, they totally cut it out. They pretended like it didn't even happen. Which sucks because, dude, that was one of Shawn Michaels' best matches of the early 2000s.
You know what I feel bad for in this situation is that Chris Benoit's other son, who's actually David Benoit, who's actually a really good wrestler, really can't get signed anywhere because of his dad's name. And it's a travesty.
His name as his ring name. And he said he's not going to not use it. He's going to go by Chris Benoit Jr., and that's that.
Yeah, I mean, the kid his son shouldn't have to pay for what transpired.
Right.
And I would actually, I've never seen one of his matches. I'd actually like dig trying to, to see it. But in the same token, like, can he be as good as his dad? Because my God, so Chris Benoit he looked like the human equivalent of Wolverine. Like, if you've ever seen Chris Benoit live, he was solid fucking muscle, but he could move faster than you'd expect a man that built to move.
Right.
I had the pleasure of seeing Benoit wrestle 3 times. Twice in WCW, once in WWE. And the superstar's right. There is this, he might be a short dude, but that 230, 40 pounds of rock solid muscle. He had like the biggest neck I've ever seen. One of the biggest necks.
Yeah, that Rumble had one of the best finishes, because you know how normally almost every Rumble the finish is really quick. Somebody gets clotheslined over, somebody gets thrown over.
Yeah.
The finish of that one was Big Show and Benoit actually like slowly pulled the Big Show over the top rope. I mean, it was the slowest like pop, because you didn't know if he was going to go, if he wasn't.
Right.
It's a shame people aren't going to see it. And then the end is when, because Eddie had won the belt by that time.
Yeah.
So Eddie came down and congratulated him. And there's a guy we should bring up, fucking Eddie Guerrero.
Oh man, legend. He was so good.
The fact that he did the whole, I like the little skit he had with China with the whole Mamacita. I thought that was cool. But the one thing I loved that storyline between Rey Mysterio and him in 2005 before he passed away about the whole like who's Dominic's dad. That was some good stuff. And the one thing I loved about him was that he would hit the referee and then he would hit somebody else and then he would hit the guy with the chair, and then he would fall down and act like he got hit. And
it was great. I hated it times too when he did all that stuff, because some matches are like, damn it, he's always freaking cheating, but I know he's lying and cheating and stealing. That's his thing.
Well, and it's weird because by the time Angle and Guerrero had their feud, Angle had been with the company for like 6 years, 7 years.
About that, yeah.
So when Guerrero figured out that thing to unlace his fucking boot, because, when Angle put on the ankle lock, it was over. You know what I mean? Nobody got out of the ankle lock. So when he unlaced his boot and Angle pulled his boot off his foot, you were like, that is genius.
I seriously thought when I first saw that, I almost thought that he broke Eddie's foot, like ankle off his leg. I was like, but then I realized how ingenious he was by taking that off. And I'm like, man, how did you? That was genius.
Yeah, I don't know. Do you guys have a favorite Eddie match from the post Attitude Era?
I love his matches I like the one with him and Brock, and I like his little feud with JBL, but I think the ones with him and Rey Mysterio was probably my favorite.
Well, I'll tell you what, that Halloween Havoc, I know this is going way back, but probably one of the greatest matches I've ever seen was him and Eddie and Rey Mysterio at Halloween Havoc 97.
Oh, I think I know which one you're talking about. That one was a good one.
That's one where Mysterio had that full purple bodysuit.
Yep. Yeah. Did it have question marks on it?
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, I'm not normally a huge fan of flippy floppy shit, but that match had a distinct storyline. And I think that's why I liked guys like Eddie Guerrero and Benoit, is because even though they could do all that high flying stuff, they didn't rely on that to get over.
Right.
A lot of people don't realize, the one thing is Benoit idolized Dynamite Kid, and he looked like Dynamite Kid. He was built like Dynamite Kid. And I don't care what they say. There is no way that a man like that they remember how they tested his brain. There is no way if he had a brain of an 80-year-old man, he'd be out there wrestling.
Yeah, and actually, it's kind of funny. You know who's in possession of Benoit's brain right now? Another member of the Ruthless Aggression Era, Chris Nowitzki. Because Chris Nowitzki, he went back to college and became a brain surgeon. But I mean, I'm sure that they had a lot of concussions because I mean, you know, back in the day, they would not hold back with the chair shots. I mean, it's kind of hard to watch actually that empty stadium match with Mankind and Rock now. Because I don't know how Mick Foley survived that. The Rock was hitting him.
Well, if you go back and watch the documentary of Beyond the Mat, you can actually see there was a point in the Royal Rumble where he has Mankind handcuffed, and his wife and his kids are watching him just get pow, pow, pow to the head, and it's just, and he kept coming. That was the craziest part. He kept coming at it. But
part of me wonders though. This is just so JB knows this. I have a son, and my son is not allowed right now at any of our matches because he's too little to discern the difference of real life and fantasy.
Right.
So part of me wonders, okay, yes, The Rock might have went a little crazy with the chair shots, but you cannot tell me that Mick Foley ahead of time did not okay the handcuffing thing. So why would he let his kids be ringside while he's handcuffed, taking chair shots? But here's the wild card. He did know there was going to be a film crew there. So maybe let's just film my family's reaction to me getting the living shit kicked out of me.
It's the same thing with the whole Bret Hart thing we were talking about with the wrestling with shadows. You knew the cameras were there.
Right. And I don't know. I mean, I think you feel the same way, JB. Like if you know you're going to take that level of a pounding, why have your little kids there to think daddy, you know, is about to die?
Right. I don't know. Ayana's been there for most of my matches, and she was in diapers when I first started wrestling with Matt. So every time we would do something, she would run up and check on me. Are you okay? Okay? Like, be all freaking out and stuff. It was funny. But then Matt was like, this is great. This would be great for the episode because it's like he was throwing character on the show.
Well, see, I had a...
But now she's come to realize she knows it's all. She's like, oh, it's all wrestling. I guess she hasn't figured out that the choking is fake, but she'll figure it out. Because man, when she chokes me, holy crap! I don't realize how strong she is.
Yeah, same with Thaddeus, my son. He throws a wicked right hook.
You know what's interesting is my nieces. One of them is 19 right now, living in Wyoming. And my brother taught her how to do the punches, and he would do the whole Andre headbutt to him and everything like that. But now that girl's got a wicked punch, and that punch hurts. But the one thing I would say too is when I did wrestling back in the day, I was involved in this one. There was a hardcore ladder match where you can go pick up weapons in the ladder. And I used to let my folks come to the show, and I used to let my friend come to the show. She hated seeing blood. So I told her, I was like, don't come to this show. She's like, why? I'm like, it's going to be bad. It's going to be huge. It's going to be horrible bad. You don't want to see that.
Is Ruthless Aggression the last time they allowed bleeding in WWF?
Yep. And anytime that they did bleeding in the past, they either put gray, they either make the screen gray. And I remember Jericho and Batista got fined for doing a blood spot, and Batista told Jericho, don't worry about it, I'll just pay for your fine.
You know, the cool thing I do like about the Ruthless Aggression Era, though, is I think JB hinted at it earlier, but a lot of the littler guys, you know, got some screen time. Like one of my all-time favorites that came out of that era is Christian. I was more of a Christian guy than an Edge guy. So I liked that whole Christian coalition he had with Tits Gamgee and Tyson Tomko, or what the hell's her name? Trish Stratus.
Titty Stratus.
And then he had his peeps.
Yep.
Christian's always been pretty funny.
And yeah, his moveset, Christian's moveset is seamless. It's like, you know what I mean? Like one move can flow into the other. That's one of the main things I always liked about Christian.
Yeah. Him and Edge are both good. I like to watch his tag team.
And you know, the Ruthless Aggression era too of A-Train was fucking awesome. I loved A-Train in the Ruthless Aggression era.
I did too, yeah. A-Train was definitely a real good spot for him. And another guy who was really not, who was featured a lot on there, RVD was featured a lot.
Yeah, and you know, I was actually surprised because they gave RVD the rub a lot quicker than they gave it to Jeff Hardy. And you'd think it would be the other way around because Vince, if you're not hugely ripped, Vince wanted like the, you know, teen pinup looks. And Jeff Hardy by far had the better looks than RVD. I don't know if it's because RVD was the face of ECW and Paul Heyman was on the booking committee at that time in the Ruthless Aggression era.
You know, like the one thing about Christian's song, I love the old Christian song where he goes, Christian.
Oh, his first one where they had that sheet of sparklers that would come down.
I loved it.
Yep.
I mean, and Christian did really good in TNA when he left and became Christian Cage, went to TNA, reinvented himself. WWE dropped the ball when they didn't sign him last year at the Rumble. That was AEW's gain on that one. So,
JB, we need to talk to Matt about getting pyro like that at the next tape.
There's going to be all the kids stand there with sparklers.
Like Gilbert.
Yeah.
Fucking yeah, I loved Gilbert.
Gilbert was great.
another character that was really fun back then was Eugene.
Yeah. Yep, I liked Eugene a lot. I bought his merch because I liked him that much. I loved it when he was on TV.
Hi.
They really did a good job of having fun with that social stereotype without exploiting it. Do you know what I mean?
And what's cool too is WWE used to not be afraid to talk about world issues. Like when you go back to WrestleMania 7, Iraq and United States, they did Hogan and Sergeant Slaughter. And then they brought in Muhammad Hassan. And then I remember that SmackDown, they had all these people gang up on Undertaker with all these masks on and choked them with string. And
well, the problem with that angle is I think that angle happened like 2 weeks before 9/11.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And that's the problem too, is that they used to have all these little, they used to bring real life stuff into the situation, and now it's like,
well, WWE kind of mirrors the world as a whole, and it's kind of a little too hypersensitive. I mean, I understand, don't get me wrong, don't misquote me. Everybody should be treated with respect and kindness, but I think WWE is taking that to a whole nother level and insulting people's intelligence with some of the shit they're putting on TV nowadays.
some Mike asked, who's going to come out with Roman's candles? Who's going to come out the Roman candles?
Yeah, can you imagine us trying to dodge those motherfuckers as we're coming to the ring?
Dude, that would be hilarious. We would definitely have to do an outside live event. That's it. We're doing a live event somewhere around the 4th of July.
I think what y'all need to do is have like a little slow motion thing where y'all both, where you know, Xavier can go.
Dude, I've gotten hit by one of those things before. Those things suck. So if whoever's listening, my sexy hunk of man meat, they should type to you or message to you who their favorite wrestler of the Ruthless Aggression Era is, because I know there's people we're missing. They tried putting so many fucking wrestlers in that era. I was like, it's almost like Vince McMahon was just throwing wrestlers at the wall and seeing who was sticking.
Mike said that the Muhammad Hassan angle happened the day before the London train bombing.
Oh, that would explain it. Yeah. Yeah, because because that happened on a Tuesday. So SmackDown would have been the first thing that happened after 9/11. And I think it was a retrospective show. I don't really remember too much.
Now, we can all agree, too, that they had some really interesting characters. And it was around 2006-07 when they started bringing in the Great Khali and Umaga.
Well, I'll tell you what, I loved Umaga, but the Great Khali.
Hey, my homie used to use the Great Khali in the WWE games, and he did that big like thud on the top of your head, man. He'd kick everybody's ass with that guy.
Well, he was legitimately strong, but
yeah.
I mean, like Khali, like watching him walk to the ring is like watching a dog walk on its hind legs. Like it wasn't very intimidating.
That's true now. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think it's a lot of these people that just don't like, especially what JB was talking about on those wrestling games, the Raw versus SmackDown. Somebody would keep doing that move over and over again. They would stack their finisher and go.
Yep.
They kept hitting you with that damn hand, and I'm like, man, stop that shit.
You could knock your opponent out and win the match. You wouldn't even have to get a pin.
You know, that was another good thing about the Ruthless Aggression Era is the WWF video games then were actually fun. Even though I didn't watch the product, I still bought the games because the WWF games used to be fucking awesomely fun.
Yeah. That's why I still play WWF No Mercy on Nintendo 64.
Yep.
Beautiful game. That is probably like my favorite wrestling game.
I think the last good one came out on PS3. That was 2K14.
I damn near I got them all.
The one thing about 2K14 that I liked was that you can create your own finisher. I created this finisher on 2K14 called Stop the Damn Match. Basically, it was a tombstone power driver off the top rope.
Holy shit.
And not many people kicked out of that one. Oh my God.
Dude, JB, honestly, I didn't know that you had all that. You're sitting on a gold mine there of those games.
Oh yeah, he is sitting on a gold mine. Look at that wrestling. He's sitting on a gold mine, man.
Like I priced some of those out, and some of those bastards are like $50 a game.
This ain't wrestling related, but Hoop Man Classic. Road Rash.
Oh hell yeah.
Oh my God. Now with WWE 2K14, they had to create the finisher, but they also had to create a show, which I thought was really cool. You can add segments and whoever you wanted in there. And it's almost like once they went away from the Raw versus SmackDown, I feel like that's when WWE games kind of went. Yeah.
Well, for that 14 also, you could upload your own theme song. So
yes.
if you had like your own entrance music, let's say it's Metallica, Enter Sandman, you could, upload Enter Sandman onto your PS3 and then search in the game for it, and you'd come down to that song. See, that's the thing. It's almost like you could tell they still cared about us fucking fans back then, where they let us explore these creative options so we can be a part of the show. And then now it's all what they want to force feed us.
Oh, even on the football games back in the day, like the NCAA college games on PS3, you could change in the game settings. Every time you scored a touchdown, I could put a song that was on my system as the music that would play. So I had my own custom music while I'm playing this game. It was awesome.
Yeah, I don't know why they don't do that. It was that must have been an EA Sports thing. So that must have been an EA Sports thing that they went away from.
Maybe. All I know is EA Sports said that they were going to make a new college football game, and I ain't heard nothing since.
But you know what? If I made the game, it would be great. Because it
would be huge. This tail through the roof.
Well, let me be clear. If I ever made a video game, Michelle Obama would be the best running back in the world.
Yeah, why didn't they ever get Barack Obama?
I think Barack Obama actually would have gotten physical in the ring. I really do.
Well, I just think it's funny that a president of the United States is in the WWE Hall of Fame.
But you know who else is in the WWE Hall of Fame? Yeah, you know the big old biceps and the triceps. You know,
Donald.
They gave him that belt back in the day because he was the highest paid fucking actor in Hollywood, announced The Rock. So
yeah,
when does Vince call The Rock out there to give him a belt?
I'm sitting there thinking, I think because The Rock got hurt in that last match with Cena, he's been kind of neglecting on coming back to wrestle. And I'm sitting there thinking, why are we not seeing The Rock versus Roman Reigns?
Man, WrestleMania, I'm going over this. WrestleMania 23 didn't have
I told you
that great of a match lineup.
Nope. They had the Cena and Shawn Michaels. They had Batista and Undertaker. Bobby Lashley, Umaga, but Stone Cold is the referee. And I think they had Kane and the Great Khali, which was...
Yeah, that I'm looking at it right now like that. It looked like it was a whole bunch of ECW shit.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, was 24 was the first Michaels Undertaker match, right?
25.
Was it 25? Was it 25 and 26? Because they did it back to back.
Yeah, 25, 26, and then it was with Triple H, 27, 28.
Because I will tell you what, that first match, that first Undertaker-Shawn match is probably the single most perfect wrestling match I've ever seen in my entire life.
And what's great about it, too, is they knew when to do their spots. They didn't do their spots. They didn't do all the stuff that wrestlers do now, kick out at every fucking move they see. Canadian Destroyer.
And then kick out.
Then kick out. Yeah. Canadian Destroyer Canadian Destroyer outside the ring through a table and still kick out.
Right, like the kind of like the finish of the AEW ladder match last night.
Right. So I feel like right now wrestling finishers are, you got to save them for the pay-per-view. That's when you need to kick out of them. When you hit them on the show.
I missed that match last night too. I'm slacking.
That was a good match. See, and Kev was just bringing that point up. What I was going to get to with finishers and high spots is, so one thing that they used to do in the Ruthless Aggression Era is they'd save all this big shit and great stuff for the pay-per-views so that you'd actually buy the goddamn pay-per-view.
Yeah.
But like Kev, last night there was a match, Sammy Guevara versus Cody Rhodes.
Right.
Which was a pay-per-view caliber match, especially with all the bumps that they gave away for free on TV. Like it boggles my mind why they do this in this generation. And WWE set the precedent for it to happen with doing this shit on free TV.
Yep. And they would do all those. Remember back then when Cena was a United States champion, he would do like the open challenge. And he would actually have some good matches, but yet they'll exploit it on Raw. And I'm like, well, why do I care now about it?
Was that that open challenge is what happened with that whole Daniel Pewter bullshit, right? Or what? You know what I'm talking about, right? The Pewter guy who almost broke Angle's arm.
Oh, that was around their Tough Enough. That was a 2006 Tough Enough. That's when The Miz was on Tough Enough. And,
Okay.
And Daniel Pewter came in there and pretty much almost broke Kurt Angle's arm, and they basically pinned Daniel Pewter, and Kurt Angle was legit pissed. Like, he was ready to go.
Now, this is something funny. The Royal Rumble right after that happened, you can Google this actually. It's it's either titled Daniel Pewter's Punishment or something like that. But so in the ring with Daniel Pewter at this Rumble is Benoit, Eddie Guerrero, and Hardcore Holly.
Oh.
And they kick the ever-loving shit out of him. Like you can tell it's one of those old school, I'm going to teach you a lesson type things for trying to shoot on one of a made guy. you know?
I remember that he got the shit kicked out of him so hard. He was just in.
Well, Hardcore Holly is no joke. Like, I mean, that guy is a legit tough bastard.
Well, I remember you were telling me something about the fact that about CM Punk's not really that good of a guy backstage.
No, he's a fucking little pussy. In regards to like backstage politics, I mean, he's a politician. He makes it seem like, especially with that pipe bomb promo, that he's like for the people. But I mean, that's what politicians are best at, is they're best at convincing you that they're the one that are on your side.
You know, what's interesting is, JB brought up how John Cena was really great at the Dr. Thugonomics. Well, apparently John Cena said that if he comes back to wrestling, he wants to bring that gimmick back.
You know,
I mean, he wants to bring that gimmick back.
I mean, that would be perfect.
I'm gonna rap again. Motherfuckers.
Now, who could not in the Ruthless Aggression Era? Who could not forget that stare down in Chicago when The Rock challenged Hogan for WrestleMania 18?
I'll tell you what, they reenacted that when they both first got in the ring at 18. They they reenacted that, where they both look each side. And my buddy Ryan Schwartzman was with me. We went and we just as fans got floor seats, and they were cheering so loud the sound was wafting. Do you know what I mean? It was going like, hi, hi, yeah. Like you can, for fucking 15 minutes, you couldn't hear anything.
I mean, from what Hogan claimed in that match, that it was hard for him and Rock to actually to understand each other. That's why Hogan said, "Follow me." And
I don't doubt it, because literally, like, it was louder than any Rock concert I've ever been to in my life. Like, Ryan was sitting right next to me to my left, and we had to spell stuff out on our cell phones to be able to hear each other.
I read up something about Eddie Guerrero, that if he didn't pass away, WrestleMania 22 would have been him and Shawn Michaels.
Oh my God, that would have been amazing.
Damn. I mean, I'm still hoping for an Edge and AJ Styles match eventually. I'm hoping for that, but
it might happen, but
I don't know. Like lately,
how long is Edge's contract? Because he's acting like he's almost done.
Right.
Supposed to go on Instagram.
I think he's almost done with his. Yeah.
I mean, they've really kind of buried AJ Styles as well. I mean, after he got tossed around by the 17.5-foot tall man, or whatever that guy's name is.
His whole storyline right now sucks ass from what I read on Twitter. I don't watch WWE. I can't get into it, but I did read up on AJ Styles' contract, and I don't know when it ends, but I know that when it does end, he's not gonna get signed to wrestle. They're gonna probably put him in training, have him develop people or whatever. Something behind the scenes shit. But as far as in-ring action, that's no go after this contract is up. So maybe, he might pop up back in Impact or something whenever his contract does end.
I was reading the lyrics to The Rock's first concert about Austin. I remember when he basically was talking about the Sacramento Kings. And he was like this, and he was basically saying, like, I'll be sure to come back when the Lakers beat the Kings in May. And then he said that, he said Sacramento's got some fat ass women.
Isn't that when he'd always like look to the side too and tell Lillian Garcia that she wanted to touch his dick?
Yeah, he wants the people's strudel. He's a big fella. And then she actually said it one time. She's like, more than you ever know. He's like, what?
You know, you're right. The Rock really, he's probably one of the greatest promo guys that ever lived.
Ever. I was always Stone Cold first, but The Rock second.
I don't care what anybody says. When The Rock came back in 2012, 13, and he did that stuff with Punk, he owned Punk on the mic.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he figured out he came back to a PG era and still figured out how to call CM Punk a cookie puss. And then get the whole entire crowd to say cookie puss. I'm like, how do you still do this?
That is funny. Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel bad because WWE was such a huge part of my life. I mean, like I told you in the original interview, I was 7 when that Twin Magic happened, and wrestling was a major part of my life for the next 20 years.
Yeah.
So when they kind of forced me out, like towards the end of the Ruthless Aggression Era, it's kind of bittersweet because I really do not know much about wrestling between what we're talking about right now and WrestleMania 30.
You know what my favorite pay-per-view was of the Ruthless Aggression that is now complete ass?
What's that?
The Elimination Chamber. It started off so good. Especially when they're like, oh, this is bulletproof glass. Nothing can happen to this, blah, blah, blah. And then Kane fucking takes Jericho and throws him through the glass, and everybody's like, oh my God. I was like, holy shit.
Was that the same one where Undertaker got like 7th degree burns on his chest and he had to sit in that pod for like 45 minutes?
Yeah. Yes. I believe it was.
I
It was
remember
the first ever Elimination Chamber. I can't remember the first pay-per-view that it was on.
it was on Survivor Series 2002. That's when Shawn Michaels won the belt. And it was in Madison Square Garden.
And that's when he wore the So I don't know who designed his fucking tights or what drugs that person was on because I want some, but whoever let him go out in those brown fucking tights. I mean, he looked ridiculous.
Triple H, according to Sean, Triple H still jokes with him to this very day. He said, hey, Sean, you could have had a diarrhea day. No one would have known.
I mean, like, and that part of the Ruthless Aggression Era was awesome, too, when Sean came back. Because that match that they had, that no disqualification match.
Yeah, SummerSlam, yeah, that was great.
God, that match was great. And the fact that they finished it with a schoolboy pin was even better.
Mike wanted me to tell you that story is the tights that he wore that night, Superstar, weren't finished.
Not finished how? Like not finished looking more like shit? Like I don't
Maybe there's supposed to be some designs on there. You never know.
Maybe Sean wanted to bedazzle and they couldn't do it.
Bedazzling. Maybe he wanted to look like some brown pants to go with his cowboy boots.
Yeah, it could have been.
You know, honestly, toward the end of Sean's run, I liked those tights that he did where he kind of made them kind of like in the assless chaps, but as tights.
Yep.
I loved the new Shawn look there he had there. I was like, that's actually a good Shawn Michaels look. But
and you know, from what I gather is he wore those because like of how big his knee braces got.
He said, I guess the designs that were supposed to be sold in didn't arrive in time.
Well, it looked, I don't know. I was highly disappointed because it's the first time we've seen Sean in 4 years. And he comes out looking like fucking Mr. Hanky the Christmas poop.
Now, we have to keep in mind, too, that's the when Sean was back during that time. And they did bring back DX. That was a huge pop. But the reason why I loved when they brought back DX is because knowing that Sean was a born-again Christian, he couldn't do anything. Every time Triple H had to do something, he goes, Sean, look over here. Ooh, Mr. Fuji. And the one that got me is when they were out there barbecuing and that girl looked like she's doing something to Triple H, and he's looked like he's getting his thing, you know what? And
Oh
then
yeah.
Candice Michelle's next to him going,
Well, yeah, because he was such a Christian by that time he wouldn't do, you know what I mean, a lot of the storylines.
Mike said he has to agree with you. They look like utter shit.
Yeah, I just don't get it. For Sean's big comeback, like I said, I want whatever they were snorting or inhaling that night when they decided on his fucking tights.
Now that Survivor Series match between Undertaker and Kurt Angle, what the fuck was Undertaker wearing snakeskin leather pants? I mean, that one's a little bit weird too.
You know, I think Vince might have been like off that night because it seemed like everybody got to choose their. You know, everybody on that pay-per-view looked like the kid from Big Daddy, like Frankenstein. Like they're wearing fucking rain boots with like sweatpants.
I can wipe my own ass.
like I'm not busy. Bring it on, woman. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, that one, I don't know if Vince was there or not. I do remember the Royal Rumble 95. That little finish between Cena and Batista. Vince comes down there really pissed off, like legit pissed off, gets in the ring and tears both quad muscles.
You know, I think that's the last pay-per-view that Josh and I got because I remember watching that with Josh and thinking that was an angle. And we were like thinking like, why the fuck is he just sitting? Like, stand up, you stupid prick. This doesn't make any, you know what I mean?
Now, WrestleMania 19, what'd you guys think of the Hogan Vince match?
So I was there live for that, and at least live, it looked amazing. And I don't know if it's because they were taking out like 30 years of frustration semi for real on each other, but it at least looked good live.
Right.
I like the ending when Shane comes in and Hogan's over there looking at him with that belt going, you want some too?
Dude, the match that stole that night is Shawn and Jericho.
I remember that feud building up. I just vividly remember that pay-per-view. I'd have to go back and watch it.
That's the pay-per-view that Brock Lesnar almost fucking killed himself.
Oh, with the shooting star press?
Yep.
Yeah. And Kurt Angle's the one that had a broken neck
Clip
still.
of it last night.
They
Kurt
what?
Angle told him to do that. For the
Well, because Brock used to do that in OVW.
He was so far. He was damn near to the other side of the ring, and he wanted it. I'm like, dude, you couldn't move over 2 feet. 2 feet, bro. Kurt's like, hey, do that. Do your special that you did in OVW, bro. It'll be cool for the finish, man. But I'm going to sit all the way over here on the other side of the fucking ring.
Dude, the entire crowd, you could hear it through the entire crowd when he landed on his head. It was a collective, like, ooh.
Man.
Like, everybody knew that he hurt himself.
It hurt to watch.
Well, you know what was even the coolest angle back in the day was in 2003, man. It was me as Mr. America dude, and with Zach Gallen with one leg, man.
I forgot all about that. You know, the funny thing is Zach Gowen lives about like 15 miles outside of Milwaukee.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. But Mr. America, that was a fantastic gimmick. Like, he's pretending like he's not Hulk, but then when he comes to the ring, he'll pose and go.
Yeah, but remember when they had him do the lie detector test?
Yeah.
It's like, are you Hulk Hogan? And then he goes, no. And it was like, ding, or whatever, and fucking Vince was furious. Oh, that's just bullshit.
I know you're Hogan, you son of a bitch.
Request. Snow White has
Go upstairs, please.
I'm not going to do that.
Well, I'll tell you what, the Royal Rumble this Saturday, a lot of people are looking forward to the Bobby Lashley Brock Lesnar match.
I actually do want to see that.
I hope it's a long one and not a short one.
Well, that is a match they should have saved for WrestleMania, I think.
That's what
They could.
You guys might know better than me, but have they ever wrestled before in a big match situation for a belt?
No, they've never wrestled.
They never wrestled each other except for that day one pay-per-view where they were both stuck in that match with other guys.
Yeah.
So you mean to tell me they're blowing their wad on two of their biggest stars at a fucking Royal Rumble and not at a WrestleMania?
Yep.
Correct.
I think
because dude, Lashley doesn't look like he aged.
Octagon too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm digging this new Brock though. I like this cowboy country Brock. I don't know why. It's just hilarious. It's entertaining.
Well, it's almost like they're letting him just be himself and not try to be the beast incarnate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you're right. Like some of the stuff he does, like coming down with a flip phone and telling guys to look at the deer he just shot.
Now, I didn't watch Raw, but I saw a clip on Raw. Cool. He comes in during the weigh-in wearing a cowboy hat. And he's just basically like still saying Bobby who. He's just...
Oh yeah, like the bit that he did with Heyman.
Yeah. Well, he did it again on Monday, but what you guys need to do is find a way to contact Braun Strowman because Matt Jones wants to fight him. You need to get Braun Strowman on the wrestling show. And
he lives about 40 minutes west of me.
We need to make that happen. I mean, like, even if I have to go to his house and be like, look, man, you could power slam me on your car, okay? We can make this happen.
I'll probably just power slam you and then go back inside.
Yeah.
The best part about this though is the one thing I love the most about Matt is he's a promoter's promoter. So if I were to show up with Braun Strowman, even him knowing he'd probably get his ass whooped, he'd still do it on TV because it'll make for good TV.
I was second by one of my subscribers told me that when they've seen the interviews with you guys, that they think that you are better as a face superstar, and they think that Matt's better as a heel.
Really?
Because Matt comes off like a heel.
Well, you want to know why that is, though? It's because JB and I have one of the sexiest women in wrestling at our side, so that's why.
Well,
see, Mel hasn't officially joined us yet.
Right. But she'll be coming out to the ring with me. Get another,
You need to bring your boas like in that picture, brother. Those boas are fucking killer.
Well, the idea is to get the Hollywood bandana and get those MMA fight shorts, the kick pads, the knee pads, and UFC gloves, and come out there with the Kev Mania shirt and with the boa.
But no, like this era of wrestling is so bittersweet to talk about, like I've said, because it's like it ended my fandom for a long time. I was rejuvenated at WrestleMania 30 for a little bit, and then like I talked to JB about this a lot, like what they did with Undertaker at Survivor Series a few years ago, I was done. I was officially done with WWE then.
Was it the one with Paul Bearer and Kane?
It was the one where for a fucking year they were teasing his retirement. All those documentaries, all those docuseries, and then he was going to retire at Survivor Series. So you're thinking he's either going to have a match or he's going to come down and say something out of gimmick. But instead, what they do is they announce everybody he's ever wrestled.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They get to all say something, and then the Undertaker comes down and kneels, and then it's the end of the fucking pay-per-view.
And none of them really got a chance to even interact with him. But if you watch the documentary of it, they interact with him. They'll talk to him, laugh, and this and that. And I'm sitting there thinking, I'm pretty sure Taker wanted a little bit more. Now he's supposed to be at the Royal Rumble because Michelle McCool's at the Royal Rumble. Everybody's like, "Is Taker going to be a part of the Rumble?" I'm like, I don't think so. But it would be pretty cool if he came out with that American Badass. Though I'm not gonna lie.
Well, I'll tell you what, it was pretty stupid because I remember being a 10-year-old kid when he debuted, and it was pretty insulting. That's why I just stopped.
Oh. I see.
As much as I hate to admit this, Undertaker's a legend in this business. He's a legend in WWE, and I know him and Vince have a great relationship. But if the AEW was to ever get a hold of Mark Calloway,
well, like you said during the Attitude Era talk we had, if Mark Calloway would have went anywhere else, that he would have made that company.
Yep.
By the way, JB, I'm a little jealous.
Why is that?
Because I'm normally the one that says, "Look at me, I'm a princess to you." Now somebody else is.
Strike a pose. You know, what I really would want to do is I would like, if I was to join the Bonnie Stars, one thing I would like to do on there is do a skit on there where we do like what they did in WCW back in the day, attack everybody in the damn roster, throw them through the wall, do something to them, and just anarchy. And then when Nate comes out there and goes, "I'm the Galactic Champion," guess what? Me and JB are going to power bomb you together.
Well, JB and I tried moving him, and he's like, you know how Spawn in that movie is like condensed matter and you can't move him? That is like Nate. We couldn't move him.
Well, that's when you haven't had the sexy man meat with you.
Yeah, we need more muscle because JB is my only muscle right now. I'm the mouth. Hey, you know, speaking of like bad guys, I really, as much as I hate from what I hear about him in real life, JBL was a great heel character.
He was, yeah, he was.
And I mean, when he came,
yeah, go ahead, man.
When he came down as like, and see, Kev, you and I'll probably know this reference. I don't know if a lot of fans will, but when he came down as the J.R. Ewing type, like asshole character, I thought that was brilliant because it was something that had never been done before with a $1 million man type character.
I'll tell you what, though, the one thing about the JBL character that I liked was the fact that he called himself the wrestling god. He got away from the whole acolyte thing, and he created something that was like, hey, I'm a Wall Street cowboy with all this money. If Ted DiBiase would have been his manager then, that would have been perfect.
That would have been awesome.
I don't know. Yeah. I liked him better as Bradshaw.
As the APA?
You know, but hey, if you don't like somebody when they're in their character, and he obviously was heel most of the time, I don't think I ever saw him. I don't think I ever thought of him as a babyface. So, I mean, he did what he had to do, and he did a good job at it because I didn't like him. So,
right.
And that is the best compliment. Like what JB just said, that's the best compliment that you can give because, you know, JB is smart to the business. So if you actually dislike somebody's character and you're smart to the business, that guy's doing their fucking job.
I'm actually going to play this music here for everybody because this one should be if I join the Body Stars, this should be our theme now. If I can get it on here. Can't play the commercial part of it.
I did have an idea. As soon as you play this, I'll tell you my idea. We can definitely not play the song I'm thinking on this stream.
It's a 70s porn song, man.
Hell yeah, dude! That I would love that. No, the one that I suggested to JB. The one that I suggested to JB earlier today, actually, was. Have you ever heard of Steel Panther, Big Kev?
Yes. Yeah. Well,
So they have a song called "Glory Hole" that I thought would fit.
yep. I remember it. But I don't know if they'll let me play it on here or not.
No, they definitely probably wouldn't.
I think what needs to happen is if ever you and Matt ever have y'all's one-on-one, it should be like a WrestleMania 32. Y'all guys should switch. Like one goes face, one goes heel. And the body stars can be the good guys.
You never know. I mean, like stranger things have happened. And you know, like that's the crazy thing, and that's what I like most about like our group, like with JB and Courtney, is we're just kind of ourselves. We don't try to be faces or heels. So like it's the perception of the fan of what they classify us as. So that's kind of pretty cool that they classify us as faces.
Now, as you know, I'm gonna be y'all's advocate right here. You know what? Something, Nate the Great. I know you're gonna be watching this later, so I'm talking to you, you little fucking bag. When you came on my show and you said you would defend that belt against anybody, well, if I come to Rockford, you better hope to God you don't have that belt still, because I'm coming for that belt. And by the way, you lost fair and square to JB over here. JB deserves a title shot.
Hell yeah. Well, this Sunday, actually this Saturday, JB and I are both going to be in the Screw City Rumble.
Now, is he going to actually play that, or is he going to put it on that preview thing where you have to pay for it?
No, it's going to be live.
Everyone's going to see it.
Okay.
Yep. Nope, it's going to be live.
Matt said that greatness deserved to be seen by everybody.
Yeah, it turned out really, really good.
No spoilers, but I will tell you this much: no one's shoe comes off. Nobody got stabbed and nobody got shot.
Well, I mean, we can't guarantee nobody got stabbed.
Oh yeah.
But hey, so I have to show JB something quick because, like, so I was at Walmart the other night, and I rarely ever buy this kind of stuff. But like,
right.
you might appreciate this, Kev. It's not my penis extension. You've already seen that.
Of course.
No, so I'm walking around Walmart and I see this thing because I'm with my son, so I was gonna buy him like a Nerf gun. They have like a shiny blue Sting figure.
Dude.
Oh, nice.
Badass. That would look great on the wall.
It's like Luminaries collection or something like that. I don't know. I didn't even know Sting had his own AEW figure, so that's why I bought it.
It kind of reminds me of that thing where he debuted on the was it the Winter Fest or Winter thing he debuted?
Yeah, they called it Winter Fest, I think, or yeah, Winter Fest.
That's one guy who got treated horribly in WWE.
Well, that's because Vince hates people like this guy.
Yep.
He hates people that he didn't make stars. Like Dusty Rhodes is one of them. Sting is another one. Booker T, another one. Guys that he didn't elevate to stardom. For some reason, he has a boner against, and I don't know why. As a promoter, it's nice when you have like a pre-made package come into your company because then you don't have to worry about building it up.
I have no idea what that said.
Did that say vagina.org?
It says something. Now,
well, thank you, Margaret.
Now, I will tell you this much. Mel can attest to this. Me and her have been in the car before, cruising around, and we both were singing "Oh Radio." Zack the
That's
bros.
funny shit. How long did Hogan last through the Ruthless Aggression Era before he transitioned to TNA? Because he went to TNA pretty quick, didn't he?
He went from 2002. Then he lost to Lesnar. They gave him a break. And then there's a funny story from what Bruce Pritchard says is they called Hogan to do Survivor Series, but they wanted Hogan to lose again to Brock, and Hogan's like, nah, not happening. So then he comes back in January, does the Rock match, and then does the Vince thing. And then I think Hogan and Vince got into an argument about pay. And that's when Hogan did the whole, I'm Mr. America.
Oh, yeah.
Then Hogan had the hip surgery, and then they asked him, hey, 2005, you want to come to the Hall of Fame? Oh, well, would you like to wrestle again? Oh, would you like to wrestle Shawn Michaels in the three series? And Shawn Michaels made him look like an idiot.
Right. Well, and I agree with Shawn in that context because Shawn's entire career after he came back, how many matches did he fucking win? Like 4? Did he? I would bet you he won 4 matches from 2002 till 2007 when he officially retired.
Shawn beat Kurt Angle once. He beat Jericho a few times. He didn't even get a chance to beat Cena.
See, if you have Shawn had it right. If you have a good enough match, nobody's going to give a fuck about who wins or loses.
No, absolutely not. No.
So that is one, I'm a Hogan. I like Hogan, but that's one thing I really will hold against him is because, like you brought up, Big Kev, they wanted to stretch that out during the Ruthless Aggression Era into 3 matches. You know what I mean? They wanted Hogan to win, Shawn to win, and then for the rubber match, Shawn said, yeah, I would have put Hogan over that 3rd time. We could have made money. We could have done that rubber match, that last blow-off match at WrestleMania.
Well, I have to kind of blame Hogan on this because he told Shawn, I want the Shawn from 1997. You told him you wanted that Shawn Michaels. So when Shawn Michaels is out there making fun of you on Larry King, and apparently Hogan got pissed about it, I'm like,
why?
I have no idea. From what I heard, Hogan got mad about it. Then Vince went into Shawn's locker room and SummerSlam and said, hey, Hogan's going over, but we're only doing 1 match. So Shawn's like, okay, we're only doing 1, huh?
Oh, man, wait till the Outliers see how the Body Stars impersonate them.
Well, let me ask you, if you guys are going to impersonate him, is Courtney going to come out? Is it going to take Courtney 10 minutes to get to the ring? Like,
well, what we're doing? So right now, JB and I, we're going to play a round of mini golf next week to see which one of us gets to be Kate.
Huh? I don't remember.
Kate. I'm betting on Superstar to beat Kate.
That is going to be, I'm just going to tell the fans this, that is going to be probably one of the best series of matches and feud that's going to be coming to the wrestling show because it's going to happen soon.
Matt never said if it was okay, but I think I should be the special referee for y'all's match. Whenever y'all do the 1-on-1, I really do think that should happen.
I'm fine with that. I mean,
I'm sure he would be down.
But, that's when I will show who I'm affiliated with. Am I with the Body Stars or am I with the Outliers? We'll see. On that event, we'll see.
I mean, it'll be good to have you in the ring if Nate decides to make an appearance.
Oh, I got something for Nate. It's called a big old right hand right here. And we haven't seen this move very much in the wrestling show. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. But I used to play football, so I kind of have a Goldberg spear to me. So if I have to spear Nate.
Well, I'll tell you what. Good luck.
I got to make sure I wear some shoulder pads first before I do it. But
right.
Oh man, if you're wearing shoulder pads, you're hitting his ass hard as hell. Going down, Nate.
Now, what would be cool? I had a dream the other night that me and you, JB, we had Nate on the top rope and we did the superplex off the top, but we broke their ring.
Holy shit!
And Matt was furious.
Oh yeah, I believe it.
That's funny. That's funny because I had a dream about JB too, but mine involved a midget and a tire swing. So
sorry, what?
A midget and a tire swing.
He's used to this by now. When we travel and sit around backstage, he's used to me talking like a freaking idiot.
So people don't realize this, ladies and gentlemen, but I heard that Xavier Michaels has agreed to be in Orgasmo too. So I think that's going to be a good one.
Well, you got to clarify. I agreed to be the stunt cock in Orgasmo too.
And Matt's supposed to be Orgasmo, but you're his stunt cock.
Hey, as long as it's not going up against Chaos.
You know what was funny though, because when you wrote that about me being a sexy hunk of meat, man, like Mel's like, what the fuck?
See, this is the funniest thing, and JB can testify to this. Like, I say the first thing that comes to my head, and a lot of times people don't know how to take that shit. So I give JB kudos for still wanting to hang with the Body Stars.
And it is cool though that you are still sitting a Body Stars shirt. I appreciate that.
Yep, you're getting one of these, boys.
If I put the shirt on, that means I'm actually officially a Body Star, right?
Yes. And JB, don't wash your shirt. I like it when it smells like those Tijuana hookers.
Now, what the question remains though is, what does Courtney's shirt smell like?
See, well, it's hard to get near Courtney because all the guys are all over her, but she can handle herself. Right now, I think she's in L.A. I think she's doing some kind of photo shoot.
Oh, that's right. She stole that photo shoot from Kate.
Yeah, she's doing some photo shoot. I don't know what. That's why she couldn't be on with us tonight.
You know what I should do? I should actually interview the entire Body Stars group.
That would be cool because, it would actually... So Courtney is one tough biatch. She's a tough chick.
Yeah.
It would be interesting to hear her take on how they portrayed women during the Ruthless Aggression Era because they pretty much portrayed women as like Playboy centerfolds. You know what I mean? Yep. Because AJ Lee didn't come until after the Ruthless Aggression Era, right?
Yeah, she came in after. So it was her and Paige kind of changed the tune on that one.
Yeah, because she was AJ Lee is an actual female wrestling athlete. I don't consider the Bella Twins or anybody during that pre-era as female wrestlers. I consider them as eye candy.
Mickie James is a good wrestler.
Oh yes, you're right, Mickie James.
And Victoria was still around at that point. So
was she in the Ruthless Aggression, or did she?
She was added to there, though.
She left around after like 2008 or 9.
Oh, was it that late?
Yeah, she left.
Oh wow.
There. Then there was Molina.
See, Molina has become a good wrestler, but when she first showed up, her gimmick was doing the splits, so all the guys could stare at her ass. I mean, I really didn't like how they portrayed female wrestling in that era because it was just all the mouth breathers who live in their mom's basement. Yeah, you know.
I didn't like how they did with Lita, and I didn't like what they did with Trish. They kind of started changing Trish around, and there's actually that match at WrestleMania 22 between Mickey and Trish. If you go back on the Peacock or the Wrestling Network or WWE Network, they took away the spot where she grabbed Trish's vagina.
Did they really?
Yeah, they cut that out.
See, and the part where I grabbed Trish's vagina was shown in court, so I can never get rid of that.
Well,
That added to Mickey James's character. This is Vince McMahon trying to edit his fucking history out. It's stupid.
Like, all we got to do is go back and watch it. We know you can't fool, like, you can fool the new school of wrestling fans out there that go to the shows, but you can't fool wrestling fans like us. We already seen it. We know.
Yes.
And that's something
I mean, I don't know when did they start editing out their history? Like the whole thing with Roddy Piper and Bad News Brown. When was that edited out of WrestleMania 6? Was that around the time they got the network?
Yep. That's when they started editing it out.
Well, I'm watching Royal Rumble 2004, and Chris Benoit was like one of the first two people in it.
They are showing it on the cock.
Yep, on the cock. Wow.
So, man, I gotta ask JB this question: if you can wrestle one person in wrestling, your dream match, and one person you would punch in the face.
Ooh. A dream match with somebody? Oh, that's hard. I really don't know. Obviously, man, that's a tough one. I really don't know who I would want to wrestle. I know who I'd punch in the face. It's Kevin Nash. Man, I really don't know who I'd wrestle now that I think about it.
In celebrity world, like in world outside of wrestling, who would you punch in the face?
Joe Biden? No. I'm just talking shit. I don't know. There ain't too many celebrities I guess I don't like. I don't really watch enough TV, I guess.
Someone asked me the other day, and I said I would punch Alec Baldwin in the face.
Your stupid looking face.
I'll tell you what would being in the ring with JB before a good match, I think would be Guerrero versus JB.
Yeah.
Just because of the clash of styles.
It'd be interesting to see if Eddie Guerrero could do the Three Amigos to you.
Right.
And JB, I'm going to unveil this now. So next time the Body Stars tag together, I don't know if you guys can see this or not, but there's the shirt JB is going to be wearing, nice and shiny.
What?
I'm kidding. See, we should have like a little segment, JB, called "Hanging with the Body Stars," because this is all it is me giving JB shit.
I'd also punch the Miz in the face.
The Miz.
I'd even punch Roman Reigns in his shit. I don't like him either.
What are your thoughts on Roman Reigns, Kev?
I like Roman now. Like, I think Roman now, he finally found his niche on who he is, and they're finally letting him be who he is. And I told Mel last night, I'm going to tell you guys this. I told her since I'm turning 40 that she has to respect my gangster and acknowledge me, and she went like this, go fuck yourself.
Now I think about it more. If I was an actual like professional wrestler and had like years of training and knowledge in the ring and all that, I'd probably want to go toe to toe with John Moxley.
That's a good choice.
In a standpoint of today, I'd have to think more on, farther back in the past.
I will say this though, if I could go back and wrestle, I have 3 different style of matches. If I wanted to do a nostalgic match, I would let Undertaker tombstone me all day long. That getting in the ring with Taker, I would learn a lot.
You know, the thing about Taker with that tombstone is he did it for so many years and to so many varying sizes of people. You can tell he was incredibly safe with that move. Like, I don't remember anybody ever bitching that he hurt them, besides Hulk Hogan.
Did you see the interview that Taker had about that recently? Undertaker was on ESPN, and they were interviewing him about it. And Undertaker's like, "Look, man." Hogan's like, "Look, my neck." And Undertaker's like, "Look, I got you right here. You're not gonna hurt. I'm not gonna hurt you." And then he saw Hogan again later on in the show. Hogan's like, "Remember the neck, brother."
Yeah.
And then you go back and watch the match, and his head's nowhere near the freaking shot.
That is when I officially, you know, I knew that wrestling was kind of predetermined before then, but it wasn't until that match where there was glaring evidence that it was totally predetermined. Because you're right, Hogan's head was like a foot and a half off the fucking apron. Like, it was nowhere near that chair.
And Taker said he felt awful because when he went back there, he saw Hogan's like, Hogan's laying on the floor going, "Call my wife, call my kids," you know. And then Undertaker thought he was going to be in trouble. Then he comes back and he sees it and he goes, "Hey, Hulk, your head didn't hit the mat." Hogan's like, "Well, you know what happened was you got me so tight that you jammed my neck."
Yeah. You know, I honestly think that was a way that Hogan could get off TV for a while with an injury. You know what I mean?
Molly Holly was also in the Ruthless Aggression, so she was a good one.
She was. I liked watching Molly wrestle.
Who better than Canyon, according to Michael?
Dude, Canyon never got a fair shake. Chris Canyon was one hell of a fucking worker.
It's time to go, Mimi's.
He knew how to take some bumps like crazy.
Yeah, we're gonna go get in bed right now.
Yes, he did. So with the before we wrap everything up, Kev.
Yeah.
With the Rumble coming up this weekend, just real quick, what are your two guys' favorite Rumble matches from the past?
Any of them that Stone Cold won, man.
So that would be 97, 98, and 2001? Because he won 3.
Yep.
Yeah, that was it.
I would have to say 92. We missed that in the golden era of wrestling, but Royal Rumble 92 is, in my opinion, one of the perfect Royal Rumbles.
And plus, it was for the WWE Championship. I mean,
Yep.
You can't go. And then with that Gold Eagle belt, I mean, that's just. I like that one. And I like the one where Undertaker finally won a Royal Rumble match when he eliminated Shawn Michaels. And they had that.
Oh.
That was a good one. So that one in 2004. I like the 2004 one. There's the belt.
Oh, hell yes. That is one of the prettiest wrestling belt, you know. I don't know why they ever got rid of that. They should actually bring that one back instead of
the big old W.
Yeah.
Without the diamonds in it, yeah.
Bring it back.
I'll tell you who's got a really nice looking belt. AEW's got a nice looking championship belt. Their belt's nice.
Yeah, I like their TNT championship a lot too.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one that they just had in the ladder match last night, because they I don't know, I was slacking on my storylines with AEW, but they had 2. It was kind of like the old Razor Shawn feud, because there was 2 TNT belts.
Well, there was an interim match where Sammy fought Dustin.
Oh.
So, and then they gave him a belt for the time being because I think Cody was filming for that game show that he does or some shit, or he couldn't be there to do that match that they were supposed to do. So, and then I think that's why they gave us that ladder match, even though I missed it. But
I'd rewatch it, JB. It's a pretty goddamn good ladder match.
I'm sure it's on YouTube by now.
And then the main event where Danhausen premieres. God, Danhausen. Are you familiar with Danhausen, Big Kev?
Yes.
I'm not.
Yeah.
Oh, JB, he's so funny. He's little. That's why he should be a manager. He's really little.
You should hook him up with Darby Allin and Sting.
He's littler than Darby Allin, though.
I'm just going to go ahead and clarify. I know we talked about this before, Superstar, but I really like MJF. I think he is like the funniest little heel they got on
Yep.
there. And the
He
fact
is-
that he goes on there and goes on Twitter and tells his mom to shut up. I mean, it's just perfect.
Dude, he's the best talker they have. And the fact that his mom is in on it is even better because she posts on Twitter too. She put a picture of him when he was 9, and her caption on Twitter was, "This is the last time you weren't an asshole."
And
But-
the Miz came out recently and said that there's no comparison between him and MJF. He said MJF's his own guy. He's his own guy.
The Miz is ass.
Yeah, JB said that that's the guy he'd punch is the Miz.
I hate the Miz too, man. I didn't like him in MTV Real World. Don't like him on wrestling. He sucks. Everyone says he's so great. I don't see it.
There's
It
a
is
couple of people that I would really like to punch in real life, and they know who they are. But the Ruthless Aggression Era was the era that kind of, I feel like, had some great wrestling, but kind of killed wrestling because we lost that nostalgia with WWE, and now, I know with NXT 2.0 they're trying to get back to the whole TV 14 thing, but
Good luck. I mean, they have shareholders now, unless it airs at like 11 o'clock at night on like, UHF 42 or whatever oddball station.
Hey, I love that movie.
I know UHF.
wrestling fans on here, if you're sub to me or if you know JB and you know Xavier, find a way to contact Braun Strowman, get him on the wrestling show. We got to do this. He's a free agent. Got to get him on there.
He's Adam Schur now. Yeah, he lives in Neo Show. I've been past his compound, as you'd call it.
Can you just imagine that match between him and Matt on the wrestling show?
I'm telling you, I do give Matt credit. Like, he would do whatever it takes to make good television. So that would be awesome.
Now, would Matt actually get down on his knees and kiss Vince's ass on television?
That I don't know.
I don't think so.
No.
But I mean, like we were talking about, Matt definitely wouldn't back down. I know that.
Yeah, I will give him that. He wouldn't back down from Braun.
But it was weird seeing. I saw Braun in December at a indie show that I was supposed to work on, but wound up not working on, and he looks so much different. He's shaved everywhere, and he wears jeans to the ring. He looks like your homeless brother after your homeless brother got done doing steroids.
Whatever works for him. But is there anything you guys want to add to the Ruthless Aggression Era talk? Or
Nope. I think in my opinion, we hit the high notes because the Ruthless Aggression to me was about 5 or 6 different superstars that made it huge. And I think we hit all of them.
Yeah. It was mainly just, Brock, Batista, Orton, and John Cena,
Also,
But,
if you guys go on to the cock, you can actually see the Ruthless Aggression. They have a season 1 and 2.
Yeah,
they have
I've been
some really good documentaries on there with it. So
Yeah. I've been watching it. It's pretty good. And when they talk about something, they give it a couple episodes and then they move on to the next subject, and I like it.
I might check that out. You guys know me. I've been watching wrestling from the 1970s mostly for the last month. So
there's nothing wrong with that. Superstar Billy Graham, Cheap Day Strombo, Andre the Giant, which actually today marks, I think, 28 or 29 years since he's been gone.
that sucks.
They were talking.
Yeah, I've had a great time. I always have a good time talking to you, Kevin. Like, this has been awesome having my fellow body star on because JB he's one of the best.
But on certain subjects or topics, I knew a little bit,
And what's cool about this is we can get more of the wrestling show guys on here, do some more stuff, and we should talk about today's wrestling eventually.
That'd be nice. And Kev, I'll just put this plug for you. If you ever want somebody to like talk TNA wrestling with, Chaos, Josh Yeager, he is an encyclopedia of TNA stuff.
I'm surprised he wasn't on here tonight.
I think he's got his live stream tonight on Twitch. It's like I think it's butt plug night on his Twitch stream. I don't know.
But anyways, everybody, this is Big Kev, aka Sexy Hunk of Man Meat.
Woo!
With JB, Superstar, Xavier Michaels, the Body Stars are in the house. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you guys for your comments in here. And just to let you guys know, if you ain't down with the Body Stars, then they got 2 words for you.
Fuck it.